Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going straight into mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
Maybe you're feeling that constant stress, or struggling to focus, or maybe you're just kind of curious about why everyone's talking about it.
Whatever the reason, yeah, you're in the right spot if you want to get a good handle on it.
We've looked at this really comprehensive Q&A guide on the topic.
We have. And the idea today is basically to pull out the most important stuff, give you a clear, practical sense of what these practices are, why they matter, and crucially, how you might actually start.
Without getting bogged down in tons of jargon or overwhelming detail.
Exactly. Just the essentials, your quick guide to understanding it and maybe trying it out.
Okay, so let's get down to it, Ben. Mindfulness and meditation. We hear these words a lot. Are they basically the same thing? Or is there a difference we should know?
That's definitely the first thing to clear up. Mindfulness, fundamentally, is about being fully present. Right here, right now. Observing what's happening, thoughts, feelings, sensations, your surroundings, but without judging it.
Without judgment. That sounds key.
It really is. It's a quality of awareness. You're paying attention on purpose, with curiosity. The source used a great example. Mindful eating.
Yeah.
Instead of just gulping down your food while distracted, you actually pay attention. The taste, the texture, the smell, really being with the experience.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Being truly there.
Yeah.
So meditation, where does that fit in?
Meditation is more like the workout for building that mindfulness muscle.
The practice.
Exactly. It's a set of techniques you use to train your attention and awareness. Often you'll focus on something specific, like your breath.
Why the breath?
Well, it's always there, it's neutral, and focusing on it helps quiet down all that mental chatter. It develops focus.
So mindfulness meditation is just one specific type of meditation.
Precisely. It's meditation aimed specifically at cultivating that state of mindfulness. You might sit quietly, focus on your breath, or maybe the sensations in your body.
And when your mind wanders off, which mine definitely does.
Oh, everyone's does. That's totally normal. The practice isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing they've wandered and gently, kindly guiding your attention back.
Gently, okay.
Yeah, no beating yourself up about it. And it's important to know, you can do formal meditation sits, but you can also bring mindfulness into everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Informally.
That informal part sounds really useful. But hang on, before we get too deep into the how, let's talk why. The source really emphasized the mental health benefits.
Yeah.
What's the connection there?
Oh, it's huge. The impact on mental well-being is pretty substantial. For starters, it's a powerful way to reduce stress and anxiety.
How does that work exactly?
Well, by anchoring yourself in the present, you stop feeding those worry loops about the future or replaying things from the past,
Yeah.
It actually seems to calm down the brain's stress response center, the amygdala. Plus, it really improves emotional regulation.
Emotional regulation, so not flying off the handle.
Kind of, yeah. Instead of getting totally swept away by strong emotions, you learn to notice them arise. You create a little bit of space.
Like hitting pause before reacting.
Exactly. Gives you a chance for a more considered response, not just an impulse. And then there's self-awareness.
How did that improve?
Just by paying attention, you start to see your own patterns more clearly, your habitual thoughts, your reactions. It's quite insightful. And there's even strong evidence, particularly from something called mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, or MBCT.
MBCT.
Yeah, it helps prevent depression relapse. It integrates mindfulness with cognitive therapy techniques to help people spot and manage those negative thought spirals before they take hold.
Wow, okay.
And just generally, regular practice can boost your overall well-being, better mood, focus, even relationships can improve.
That's a lot of potential benefit. And the source mentions specific research, too.
Oh, definitely. The science is quite solid now. Studies show it helps with diagnosed anxiety disorders, depression, PTSD, even things like chronic pain management.
Okay, the why is pretty compelling. So for someone listening who's thinking, all right, I'm curious, what are some simple ways to start? Basic techniques.
Yeah, the guide laid out 5 really accessible ones. First up is just simple breath awareness.
Like we talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Find a comfy spot sitting, even lying down is fine. And just bring your attention to the feeling of your breath.
Where you feel it most. Nose, chest, belly.
Wherever it's most
Good-
noticeable for
yeah.
you, yeah. The rise and fall. And when your mind wanders off to your to-do list or whatever,
Which it will.
which it will, you just notice, thinking, and gently bring your focus back to the breath. Over and over. That's the core practice.
Okay, sounds doable. What's another one?
Number 2 is the body scan meditation. This one's often done lying down.
Okay.
You slowly guide your attention through your whole body, part by part, Maybe
Okay.
start at your toes.
And notice.
Just notice any sensations, warmth, coolness, tingling, pressure, tightness, maybe nothing at all. You're not trying to fix anything, just observing, moving up through your feet, legs, torso, arms, all the way to the top of your head.
Kind of like checking in with yourself physically.
Precisely, reconnecting in a very deliberate way. Then there's loving kindness meditation.
That sounds nice.
It is. It involves silently repeating phrases, wishing well-being. You start with yourself, like, may I be happy? May I be healthy?
Yeah.
Then you gradually extend those wishes outwards to loved ones, friends, neutral people, even people you find difficult.
Even difficult people, that sounds challenging.
It can be, but it's a powerful practice for cultivating compassion and warmth, even shifting how you relate to others.
Interesting. Okay, what's next?
Fourth is mindful walking. Simple idea. Pay attention while you walk.
Instead of just rushing from A to B.
Right. Slow down a bit, maybe. Notice the sensation of your feet hitting the ground, the movement in your legs, the rhythm of your steps, your breath.
Turning a routine thing into practice.
Exactly, using everyday activities. And the last one is the 5 senses exercise. This is great for grounding yourself quickly if you feel stressed or scattered.
How does that work?
You just pause and deliberately notice.
Well.
5 things you can see right now.
Hmm?
Then 4 things you can physically feel or touch.
Mm-hmm.
3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. And 1 thing you can taste.
So it pulls you right into the present through your senses.
Instantly. Really anchors you in the here and now. Very practical.
That does sound useful. Now, a big question people have is time. How much do you really need to practice each day to get these benefits?
The good news is you don't need hours. The source really stresses that even 5 or 10 minutes a day, done consistently, can make a difference.
Consistency over duration.
Absolutely. Better to do 10 minutes every day than an hour once a week. As you get more comfortable, yeah, you might naturally want to sit longer, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, but start small.
That makes it feel much less daunting. And results. When might someone actually notice a difference? Is it immediate?
Probably not immediate, no. But research indicates noticeable brain changes, like in areas for stress and focus, can happen after about 8 weeks of regular practice.
8 weeks. Okay.
But many people report feeling subtle shifts much sooner, maybe within a few weeks. Things like feeling a bit less reactive, maybe slightly better focus.
So small changes can come relatively quickly.
Yeah, often. More significant, lasting changes in, say, emotional resilience or self-awareness, those tend to build up over those 6 to 8 weeks and beyond with continued practice.
It's a gradual unfolding then. Makes sense. Let's circle back to anxiety and depression. The source was clear, it helps. Can you expand on the how again?
Sure. So for anxiety, a big part is calming the nervous system. Mindfulness practice helps dial down that hyperarousal, that fight or flight feeling that's often stuck on.
Right.
And for both anxiety and depression, it tackles those negative thought loops. You learn to see thoughts as thoughts, just mental events passing through rather than facts you have to believe or react to.
Takes away some of their power.
Exactly. You're not trying to stop them, but you're changing your relationship to them. You also learn to sit with difficult emotions without immediately trying to escape or suppress them, which builds coping skills.
And you mentioned those specific programs, MBSR and MBCT.
Yeah, mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. They're well-researched programs used clinically.
So there's solid evidence behind them.
Very solid. MBSR is broader for stress reduction using meditation, body awareness, some gentle yoga. MBCT specifically targets depression relapse prevention by blending mindfulness with cognitive therapy tools.
Got it. It sounds really valuable. But let's be real. Starting out isn't always easy. What are the common hurdles people hit?
Oh yeah, definitely common challenges. Restlessness is a big one. Just sitting still can feel really hard at first.
I imagine.
And distractions,
Right.
the mind wandering constantly, that's probably universal.
So feeling like you can't do it because your mind is busy.
Exactly. Which can lead to doubt or self-judgment, like, I'm failing at this. Frustration can pop up, too, if you expect instant calm and it doesn't happen. And maybe surprisingly, sleepiness can be a thing, especially when you first start trying to quiet down.
That's good to know these are normal, not signs you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely not. They're just part of the landscape of the mind. The key is patience, self-compassion. It's a skill. It takes practice.
Okay. Now, another thing people wonder about is the religious connection. Is mindfulness Buddhist? Do you have to be spiritual?
That's a common question. So, yes, the historical roots are in Buddhist traditions, no doubt about that.
Oh,
But the way mindfulness is widely taught now, especially things like MBSR developed by John Kabat-Zinn, it's presented in a completely secular, science-backed way.
so separate from religious belief.
Totally separate. It's designed to be accessible to anyone, regardless of their spiritual background or lack thereof. Of course, if someone is religious or spiritual, they might find it complements their existing path, but it's definitely not a requirement.
That makes sense. Makes it more universal. What about kids and teenagers? Can they benefit too?
Oh, absolutely. Big potential benefits for younger people. It can help with focus and attention, which is obviously huge for school.
Definitely.
And it gives them tools to manage stress and difficult emotions, which teenagers especially deal with a lot. It can also foster empathy, kindness, build emotional resilience.
Are schools actually doing this?
Yeah, increasingly. There are mindfulness programs being introduced in schools, and the early results look really promising. Things like better concentration, fewer behavioral problems, improved well-being.
Wow, teaching these skills early seems like a great idea.
Mm.
You mentioned earlier integrating mindfulness into daily life, not just formal fits. Can you give more examples of that?
Sure, we talked about mindful eating and walking. Think about washing dishes instead of zoning out. Feel the warm water, the soap, see the bubbles.
Okay,
Or when you're talking to someone, really listen. Put down the phone, make eye contact, try to understand their perspective without just planning your reply.
that's a big one.
It is. Even driving, notice the feeling of the wheel, see the road, the colors instead of being lost in thought. Or taking a mindful pause at work just a minute to check in with your breath before a meeting.
Little moments throughout the day.
Exactly. These informal practices weave awareness into your life, reducing that feeling of being on autopilot, increasing clarity.
That sounds very appealing. Now, if someone wants structure, maybe finds it hard to start alone, the source mentioned apps. Any specific ones that are good?
Yeah, apps can be super helpful. Headspace is really popular, great for beginners, lots of guided stuff, clear explanations.
Okay.
Calm is another big one, lots of focus on relaxation, sleep stories, music, nature sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Insight Timer has a massive free library, thousands of meditations from different teachers, talks, music, great for exploring.
Free is good.
Definitely. Then there's 10% Happier, kind of aimed at skeptics, very practical, science-focused. And Smiling Mind is a nonprofit one, good for all ages, even has programs specifically for kids and educators.
Lots of options then, like a pocket guide.
Pretty much. They offer structure, reminders, variety, can make it easier to build a habit.
We've covered mental benefits quite a bit, but the source also mentioned physiological changes.
Yeah.
What's the science say there?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Research shows measurable physical effects. For instance, reduced levels of cortisol, the stress hormone.
Okay, that's tangible.
Very. Also, improved attention and memory have been documented. And brain scans actually show changes. Increased gray matter.
Wait, you can actually change your brain structure.
Seems so, with consistent practice. There's also evidence pointing towards a stronger immune response, better sleep quality, and even positive effects on blood pressure and heart rate.
That's quite a list, supported by solid research.
Yeah, major institutions, Harvard, UCLA, Johns Hopkins, places like that have been studying this for years now. It's not just about feeling good subjectively, there are real biological shifts happening.
That's powerful. Okay, let's tackle something practical. What if you sit down to meditate and you just don't feel calm? Maybe you feel more agitated. Is that failure?
Not at all. That's a super important point. It's completely normal not to feel calm. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't.
So the goal isn't forced calm.
No, definitely not. Trying to force it usually backfires anyway. The goal is awareness with acceptance. Noticing whatever is there, restlessness, irritation, boredom, thoughts, without fighting it or judging it.
Just observing it.
Just observing. Often a sense of calm might arise naturally from that non-reactive observation, but it's a byproduct, not the target you have to hit.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off. Good.
Yeah.
What about posture? Do I have to sit cross-legged on a cushion? My knees wouldn't like that.
Yeah, definitely not required. That's
Yeah.
just the classic image. You can meditate effectively sitting in a chair, feet flat on the floor.
Okay, that's more manageable.
Lying down works too, especially for body scans, though it's easier to get sleepy that way. Walking meditation, we mentioned. Even standing or gentle movement like mindful yoga or stretching counts as practice. The key is finding a posture where you can be relaxed but also alert, stable and comfortable for you.
So experiment and find what works. Makes sense. Another distinction people get confused by, mindfulness versus positive thinking. How are they different?
Good question. Mindfulness is about accepting all experience, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, just as it is, without judgment.
Okay, seeing clearly what's there.
Right. Positive thinking is more about actively trying to cultivate optimistic thoughts, maybe reframing negative ones into positive ones.
So positive thinking tries to change the thoughts.
Often, yeah. Mindfulness is more about observing the thoughts, understanding them, seeing them come and go without necessarily needing to change them immediately. It allows for the full range of human experience, fostering a kind of balance and acceptance.
Acknowledging reality versus trying to take it differently. Got it. The source also mentioned using mindfulness for really tough stuff like addiction or compulsive behaviors. How does it help there?
Yeah, it's proving really helpful. One way is by increasing awareness of cravings or urges before you act on them.
So you notice the urge coming.
Exactly. You learn to recognize it as just a wave of sensation or thought, not a command you have to obey. This creates a crucial pause, a moment of choice.
Breaking the automatic pilot.
Precisely. It also helps identify the triggers, the emotions, situations, or thoughts that kick off the compulsive behavior. Awareness of the trigger gives you a chance to respond differently.
Building self-control.
Yeah, and resilience, understanding the whole chain reaction. There are specific therapies now, like mindfulness-based relapse prevention, MBRP, that use these principles and show good results for substance use and other issues.
It's a really profound application. Okay, before we get tips on staying motivated, let's bust a few myths. Common misunderstandings the source cleared up.
Right. Myth number 1, you have to clear your mind.
Which we know isn't true.
Nope. Observe the thoughts, don't try to eliminate them. Myth 2, it's only for spiritual people. Again, nope. Modern mindfulness is very often secular and science-based. It's accessible to anyone.
Exactly. Myth 3, you need hours and hours. We covered that even 5-10 minutes consistently helps.
For a reminder.
And myth 4, you'll feel amazing immediately. So sometimes maybe, but usually the benefits build gradually over time with practice. It's not an instant magic pill.
Setting realistic expectations, that's important. Okay, the million-dollar question. How do you stick with it? How do you stay motivated?
Ah, yes, the consistency challenge.
Yeah.
Well, setting a specific time can help make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself.
Routine helps.
Definitely. Using an app for reminders and tracking can work for some people. Finding a community, a group, a class, even just a friend to practice with adds accountability and support. Keeping a simple journal about your practice, noticing small shifts, can be encouraging. Celebrate the small wins.
Acknowledge progress.
Yeah. And probably most importantly, reconnect with why you started. What were you hoping to gain? Reminding yourself of your deeper intention can really help when motivation dips.
Remembering your why. Exactly. Eventually, it can shift from feeling like a chore to feeling like a really valuable part of taking care of yourself.
So wrapping this all up, mindfulness is really about that present moment awareness without the judgment layer.
Yep.
Meditation is the training ground for developing that awareness.
The practice.
And together, they offer real, scientifically backed benefits for both mind and body.
Absolutely.
And crucially, it's accessible. Anyone can explore this. No special background needed.
Well said. And maybe a final thought, a little invitation for you listening. Tomorrow, pick just one small, everyday activity.
Like what?
Could be drinking your first coffee or tea, brushing your teeth, walking to your car. Just for a minute or two, bring your full attention to it.
Notice the sensations.
Yeah, the taste, the smell, the feeling of the brush, the sound of your footsteps. Just notice without trying to change anything. See what you observe when you simply pay attention. What might you learn?
A simple experiment in presence. I like that.
Give it a try.
A great place to start. We hope this deep dive has given you a clear understanding and maybe sparked some curiosity to explore further. Thanks for joining us.